Incredible moment, single mom saves starving elder, then CEO exposes hidden family bond touched. Sarah was the kind of mother who carried her burdens like badges of honor. Every morning, she would rise with the sun, brewing coffee while her daughter Mia still slept, lost in dreams of youth. Juggling 2 jobs in a lively Ohio suburb, she barely made ends meet, but each sacrifice was worth it for the joy in Mia's laughter. That Saturday was no different. They were heading to the local food pantry, their weekly ritual of compassion, where the community came together to share what little they had. As they sorted through canned goods and clothes that day, Sarah's eyes fell on a frail figure. Mr. Thompson, an elderly veteran with weary, sunken eyes reflecting years of loss, stood at the edge of the room. His hands trembled as he reached for a pair of worn-out shoes. The sight hit Sarah hard. Here was a man who had once fought for his country, now struggling to make ends meet. She felt a pang of empathy and motioned for him to join them. "Why don't you come over for dinner tonight?" she offered, her voice warm, despite her own worries. The glimmer of surprise in Mr. Thompson's eyes tugged at her heartstrings. After a moment's hesitation, he nodded, and Sarah felt a sense of relief wash over her. That evening, Sarah found herself stirring a simple soup while Mia set the table. Mr. Thompson arrived, grateful but shy, his stories pouring forth as soon as he took a seat. "Life threw me a lot of curveballs," he admitted, his voice thick with emotion, but he spoke of resilience as if it were a favorite song he loved to sing. They listened, captivated, as he shared tales of struggle, service, and the importance of community values Sarah held dear. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Weeks passed, and their bond deepened. Mr. Thompson filled the void of a father figure in Mia's life, and she soaked up his lessons like a sponge. They went on walks, shared laughter, and ignited a connection that felt like family. But just as life seemed to settle, the winds shifted. Adam, the town's high-profile CEO, caught wind of Sarah and Mr. Thompson's story. Initially indifferent, he soon saw an opportunity. The media buzzed about the single mom saving the elder, and Adam plotted to use the narrative for his company's image. It felt hollow to Sarah, who poured her heart into this connection. When she confronted Adam, her voice trembled. "This isn't a publicity stunt," she said, tears pricking her eyes. "This is about real people, real lives." The pressure hung thick in the air, as a community watched tensions rise. Was success merely money and power, or was it the bonds we forged that truly defined our lives? As whispers spread through the neighborhood, Sarah, emboldened by the warmth of the community, stood at a crossroads. Her quiet strength became a beacon, illuminating their struggles. Could her courage spark a movement? Would people rally behind her in defiance of corporate manipulation? Questions lingered, heavy and unresolved. As she readied herself for the coming challenges ahead, the heart of her story beat stronger. Sarah wasn't just a warrior for her family, she was now a symbol for a community yearning for change. As the sun set across the Ohio skyline, so began a deeper journey that would test the limits of compassion and the true meaning of success. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting hues of orange and purple across the Ohio sky, Sarah gathered her thoughts. She felt a mix of fear and determination. The confrontation with Adam lingered in her mind. What was meant to be a simple act of kindness had exploded into something much larger, a harsh spotlight she hadn't asked for. This wasn't just about her and Mia anymore, it was about the community they had all come to cherish. Damar Thompson, having overheard the disagreement, placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You did what you felt was right, Sarah," he said gently. "Sometimes, standing up for what matters means facing the storm head-on." She nodded, though uncertainty twisted in her stomach. Would the community rally around her, Or would Adam's influence overshadow their shared humanity? The next day, the whispers in the neighborhood grew louder. Some praised Sarah for her courage, while others were swayed by Adam's rich promises and smooth words. Incredible things are going to happen, he told them, positioning himself as a savior of sorts. Imagine a partnership that lifts our community. Yet, Sarah knew better. She rushed to the community center that evening, her heart racing. The air was thick with chatter, and familiar faces filled with intrigue turned to greet her. Encouragement mixed with skepticism echoed through the crowd as she took her place at the front. "I want to thank you all for standing by me," she began, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. "What we have built with Mr. Thompson is real. It's about kindness and connection, not profit margins." Murmurs of support rippled through the crowd, but a few voices questioned her own motives. "Aren't you just trying to take advantage of the situation yourself?" someone called out. That hit hard. Tears pooled in her eyes, but she held them back. "I'm not looking for fame or fortune," she replied, fighting to keep her voice steady. "I just want us to remember that the heart of this community lies in our bonds, not in empty promises." Across the room, Mia watched, her young face filled with concern. Sarah could see her daughter's worry, she was the one keeping Sarah grounded. A surge of love flooded through her, and she knew she had to continue. As the discussion heated up, Mr. Thompson stood. "I fought in a war for these values," he began, voice booming like thunder, silencing the wave of chatter. "In the end, it's not wealth that matters, it's the hearts and minds you uplift." His powerful presence wrapped around them, reigniting the flames of compassion. Slowly, faces turned from skepticism to understanding, the tide shifting like the wind. The community was slowly remembering who they were, the very essence of togetherness rekindling before their eyes. As ideas about solidarity and support blossomed, Sarah knew they were just starting to fight not against Adam, but for something much greater. The feeling of unity pulsed through her, growing stronger with each breath, but just as hope began to dazzle more brightly than ever, Adam's shadow loomed larger. A storm was brewing, and hidden truths threatened to surface. Just then, an unexpected voice shouted from the back, "Are you really willing to tell the whole story, Sarah?" All eyes turned to her, and a chill ran down her spine. What did it mean? What would this journey cost her and the people she loved? The question hung heavy in the air, vibrating with possibility. As tension filled the room, Sarah felt that it was only the beginning. She took a deep breath, ready to face whatever lay ahead, knowing that the truth would not only shape her future but that of the entire community. What revelation was ready to break forth? The room felt electric, a charged atmosphere swirling with uncertainty. Sarah's heart pounded against her ribcage as she looked out at the sea of familiar faces. Each person was a part of her tapestry: friends, neighbors, and her beloved Mia, who sat anxiously in the front row, her tiny fingers gripping the edges of the seat. "Please, speak up," Sarah said, her voice breaking the silence. "Who asked that?" From the back, a tall man stepped forward, a neighbor Sarah hadn't spoken to in years. "I'm just curious," he began, his tone cautious yet probing. "What do you really know about Adam? How can we trust you?" Another voice chimed in, "Is this all just a coincidence? Or was it planned?" Questions bubbled like water on a low boil, the community's uncertainty surfacing, reaching out like desperate hands grasping for clarity. She felt the weight of their gaze, a mix of confusion and doubt. "I never intended to create trouble," she said, fighting to maintain a calm facade. "I stood up for someone who needed help." "Yeah, but what else do we not know?" someone shouted, prompting murmurs from the crowd. Sarah's stomach twisted. "Let us hear her out." Mr. Thompson interjected, his voice slicing through the doubt like light breaking through clouds. "This is about our community. We deserve transparency." Sarah took a moment, inhaling deeply. The nervous energy in her limbs begged her to flee, yet she stood rooted. "There is more," she confessed, swallowing hard. "But it's not about me. It's about Mia, and why I stepped in." Mia's eyes widened, listening intently. Sarah continued, I grew up in this same neighborhood. I know the struggles, the heartaches. I felt compelled to help that day because I remember being in similar shoes. Our struggles shape us. Her voice trembled, revealing the truth behind her intentions. She caught a glimpse of Adam's displeased expression lurking in the shadows, and it fueled her resolve. To build a community, we need to speak up about the truth even when it's uncomfortable, she said, her hands clenching into fists. A shift happened, palpable yet fragile. People leaned in, engaged. The connection was undeniable. But just as momentum gathered, the man who had first questioned her stood tall again. But what about Adam? He has plans, real plans that can change everything. That name hung in the air like a cloud of dark smoke. In her mind, Sarah could hear Adam's slick, charming voice, selling futures and hope wrapped in golden promises. She shook her head, trying to dispel his hold. What's more important, lifting ourselves up, or just giving in? Sarah asked, searching their faces, pleading for understanding. Suddenly, an elderly woman, Mrs. Hargrove, broke the silence. My late husband would agree with you, dear. We are not just faces to be used for profit. We matter in our own right. A ripple of agreement sparked through the crowd. But then, just as hope began to prevail, Mia stood up, eyes glistening with fear. Mom, what if he finds out about us? Sarah's heart dropped. The words slipped out like ice into her veins. Us? She echoed, uncertain. Murmurs escalated, uncertainty wrapping tighter and tighter. The gathering held its breath, waiting for her response. What secrets had Adam unearthed? And more importantly, what would become of Mia? As the weight of the room shifted around her like a fierce wind, Sarah steeled herself, realizing she had to confront not only Adam but the truth that tied them all together. This moment was only the beginning. She could feel it. Tonight, she began, feeling a tremor of courage deep within, we stand united against the shadows. And perhaps it's time to unveil more than just intentions. What truth might unravel and change everything they held dear? The tension in the room turned thick, like fog rolling in from the ocean. Sarah's heart raced faster, pounding in her ears as she locked eyes with Mia. Her daughter's fragile expression stung her deeply. What had Adam discovered that could threaten them? Listen to me, Sarah said, her voice steadier than she felt. What Mia just brought up, and what we're all afraid of this isn't just about Adam. It's about the fear of being exposed. It's about trust, about family. The weight of her words hung in the air, and she sensed the shift in energy around her. People were grappling with fear, but also with the longing for connection. Sarah could see doubt on their faces giving way to curiosity, and some, even empathy. Trust is hard, she continued, her eyes darting around the room. I know I've put myself on the line tonight. But what I've learned, growing up here, is that community is about embracing each other, not tearing each other down, no matter what happens in the shadows. Mr. Thompson nodded, his expression shifting from suspicion to respect. What do you mean by that, Sarah? What lies are you worried Adam might uncover? It was a loaded question. Sarah had felt the tremors of her past ripple forward, but she had never thought it would come to this. She glanced at Mia, who seemed to have shrunk back into her seat, the fear palpable between them. Sarah took a deep breath, pushing through the anxiety. Before Mia was born, I was caught up in a world I didn't understand. Mistakes were made. People got hurt. A murmur of disbelief fluttered through the crowd, fueled by the fear of the unknown. And Adam, she pressed on, her voice gaining strength, he knows what happened. He believes it gives him leverage over me. But I'm not here to hide anymore. I'm here to protect this community. To protect my daughter. The murmurs grew louder, shifting from suspicion to a willingness to listen. Mrs. Hargrove leaned in closer, her eyes bright. Oh, dear, it's okay to speak your truth. We all have pieces of ourselves we wish to keep hidden. What matters is how we come together. Her words struck a chord. Sarah felt a wave of warmth wash over her, reminding her of the love that could bloom in hard times. Suddenly, loud footsteps echoed from the back of the room, and all heads turned. Adam emerged from the shadows, his presence as unnerving as thunder in clear skies. "What a touching scene," he sneered, his voice sharp and condescending. "Your truth will come out, Sarah," he said, advancing toward her. "A single mother fighting for her daughter. It sounds noble until you see the real story behind it. Stay away from her." Mr. Thompson's voice boomed, protective and fierce. The crowd stirred, rising as one a barrier against Adam's menacing approach. But Sarah stood rooted, adrenaline coursing through her. She took a step forward, meeting Adam's steely gaze. "You think you're the only one with power here? Communities share strength, and I won't back down." Adam smirked, glancing around, sizing up the moment. "That's adorable. But soon, they'll know what really lies beneath the surface. Secrets can tear communities apart, don't you know?" A hush fell over the crowd, everyone holding their breath as the air thickened again with anxiety. Sarah's resolve faltered. What did Adam truly have on her? What if? She started, but her words drifted off into the silence, like the faint sound of waves hitting the shore. The crowd stirred with uncertainty. Could they really unite against him? Could they handle whatever truth was about to be unleashed? As Sarah's heart knocked hard against her chest, she realized that this moment could redefine everything. And with the support of Mia and the others, perhaps it was time to expose not only her past but the strength forged in resilience. Would they stand with her when the truth crashed down like unrelenting waves? Would their bond hold firm against Adam's impending revelation? Sarah's breath caught, her thoughts racing. Adam had come charging in, a bull in a china shop, and their small community felt the tremors of his chaos. She could see the doubt return to the faces around her, fear flickering in their eyes like flames struggling against a gusty wind. "Don't listen to him," Sarah urged, raising her voice above the increasing discomfort. "Truth isn't about shadows, it's about standing strong against them." "Sarah." Mia's voice pierced through the tension, a rare sound of concern from her child. "What do you want to say?" Her daughter's plea struck the heart of the matter. This wasn't just about Sarah anymore. It was about showing Mia that strength comes from being honest, from facing one's fears head-on, regardless of the consequences. "Adam," she said, mustering every ounce of courage she had, "if we're going to talk about truth, let us lay it all out. You want to manipulate me? Fine. But you won't break me. You won't come between me and my daughter." The crowd split, their nervous glances shifting back toward Adam. Sarah felt a swell of confidence. This was her moment. "I made mistakes," she continued, forcing herself to keep her voice steady, "but they don't define who I am now. I worked hard to rise above my past." She turned to the crowd, her heart racing. "We all have things we wish to hide, things we're not proud of. But isn't it better to face them together?" There was a collective inhale. Nobody wanted to be the first to nod, but the air felt charged, alive. Old wounds were laid bare, and the ghosts of shared histories began to resonate. Mrs. Hargrove took a step forward, her voice trembling but resolute. "She's right. We all have pieces tucked away. Let's not tear each other apart over what's in the past." Adam clenched his fists, his confidence waning as the tide shifted. "What are you saying, Mrs. Hargrove? That secrets are okay? That hiding your flaws makes you strong?" "It's not about hiding," came Mr. Thompson's steady voice. "It's about lifting each other up when we fall." The room began to buzz with murmurs of agreement. Sarah's heart swelled. She couldn't fight Adam alone anymore, they were no longer just spectators. They were a community, standing shoulder to shoulder, and for the first time, the weight of Adam's looming threat felt lighter. "Let me tell you, Adam," Sarah said, stepping forward, emboldened by the gathered support. Secrets only hold power when we're alone. Together, they mean nothing. The murmurings grew, rallying around Sarah's defense. Voices rose with confidence, echoing her insistent resolve. Perhaps their stories were tangled, but together they could weave a much stronger tapestry against the unraveling that Adam wanted to ignite. But as the energy in the room shifted, Adam's expression darkened. You think you've won? You don't know what I have on you. What do you want? Sarah asked, defiantly challenging him. But in that moment, there was a flicker. A small smile crept at the corner of Adam's mouth, something sinister, something that sent a shiver down her spine. Ah, but you'll find out soon enough, he said, backing away slowly, allowing the door to swing closed behind him. The crowd stood silent, uncertainty sloshing around them like waves waiting to crash. Not if we stand united, Sarah murmured under her breath, the weight of uncertainty settling over her again. The heaviness in the air thickened with the knowledge that Adam was still there, lurking in the shadows of their lives. Sarah's stomach twisted, not knowing what would come next, only certain that whatever it was wouldn't stop until it surfaced. How could they prepare for the next battle? What did Adam truly know, and how would it affect not only her but everyone she cared for? Would their newfound strength withstand the approaching storm? The room remained tense, the echo of Adam's exit lingering in the air like a distant thunderclap. Sarah felt the weight of the crowd pressing against her, longing for reinforcement but also fear. Each face reflected thoughts she could only imagine. What was Adam plotting? How deep did his knowledge go? Mia tugged at Sarah's sleeve, bringing her back to the present. Mom, are you okay? There was a fragility in her daughter's voice that pierced through the chaos of Sarah's thoughts. I'm okay, sweetheart, she replied, tousling Mia's hair. But was she really? How could she convince her child that everything would be fine when even she felt the ground shifting beneath her feet? Around them, the chatter began to swell. Individuals were grasping at hope, echoing Sarah's rallying call for unity. Mr. Thompson was speaking, his voice steady as he encouraged people to share their stories. One by one, they began to rise, recalling personal battles, the kind that made them human and vulnerable, but also resilient. Let us not let fear define us. Someone exclaimed, igniting a spark within the room. The walls that once seemed oppressive began to lighten as old secrets surfaced, exposing wounds that had festered in silence for too long. Laughter, bright and unexpected, broke out as Mr. Bennet recounted a botched attempt to surprise his wife for their anniversary, revealing how his slip-up became one of their fondest memories. With each story shared, a bond formed, an unspoken promise to support each other through whatever Adam might unleash next. Sarah felt her heart swell. This had become more than just her fight, it was a collective strength emerging from the depths of shared experiences. Their voices intermingled, creating a powerful symphony of resilience, yet, just when Sarah felt a semblance of hope flicker within her, doubt slithered back into her mind. What would Adam do next? He had been waiting, lurking in the shadows, and she couldn't shake off the feeling that he wasn't done. Do you think he'll come back? Mia asked, her face a picture of concern. Not if we prepare, Sarah replied, her own resolve fueling her. We will stand united, remember? We're stronger together. But as the crowd began to disperse, a new thought crossed her mind. They had shared their truths, but what if Adam had something bigger, something that could tear apart the tapestry they began to weave? Just then, Mrs. Hargrove approached, her expression softer, eyes glossy with emotion. You've got a remarkable gift for bringing people together, Sarah, she said gently. But let us be cautious. Adam doesn't play fair. Tell me about it, Sarah sighed, pressing her fingers against her temples as if trying to stave off a headache. But I want to show me a real strength. We can't let fear dictate our actions. Strength is facing those fears, Mrs. Hargrove noted, but it's also knowing when to seek help. A flicker of worry crossed Sarah's mind. What do you mean? I know people who've faced Adam before. They could share their stories, strategies. It might help. Sarah's heart raced at the thought, but the small voice of doubt crept back. If they reached out, would it put everyone in danger? I'll consider it, she said finally, forcing a smile. As the evening wore on, shadows danced at the edges of her thoughts, each one a reminder of Adam's threat. What is he really capable of? The question hung uneasily in the air, persistent and heavy. And just then, a text buzzed on Sarah's phone, the screen lighting up with a name that sent chill through her. It was from someone she hadn't spoken to in years. "We need to talk. I know more than you think about Adam." Her heart stuttered. What could be more important than defending her family? What was this revelation? And just like that, Sarah felt the ground shift once more, the not-so-distant echoes of uncertainty growing louder, waiting for her reaction. What would she do next? Would she reach out for help? The message blinked at Sarah, drawing her attention like a moth to a flame. The name on the screen breathed life into the shadows that loomed over her heart. Rachel. A name once filled with friendship and laughter now felt like a specter from the past. Why now? What could she possibly know about Adam? Mia shifted beside her, sensing her mother's tension. "Who is it, Mom?" "It's just an old friend. I'll check it later." Sarah forced the words out, but her mind raced in a different direction. Rachel had always been the brave one, the one who challenged the norms. But how could she help now? Murmurs still floated around them, people clinging to the camaraderie that had flourished moments ago. Sarah tuned back in, catching snippets of stories, shared trials that wove the community tighter. Yet the insistent beat of worry drummed steadily in her chest. As the room emptied, Sarah felt the urge to reach out, to find solace in Rachel's familiarity. But doubt gnawed at her. Rachel was known for stirring the pot, for adding complexity to situations rather than simplifying them. Was it worth the risk? "Hey, let us head home," Sarah said, glancing at Mia, who was still staring at the crowd. "Can we go get ice cream first?" Mia asked, her eyes brightening with hope. Sarah sighed, glancing at the flashing phone. "All right, sweetie. Ice cream it is." They stepped outside into the evening, the warm air brushing against Sarah's skin like a comforting hand. But as they walked towards the ice cream parlor, her thoughts flicked to Rachel again. Rachel, with her well-placed connections and fierce instincts. If anyone could help expose Adam's secrets, it would be her, but would Rachel be willing? Would she even remember their bond after all these years? As they reached the parlor, Mia flung her arms wide. "I want chocolate with sprinkles." Caught in the storm of family life, how easily Sarah found joy in those small moments. They ordered and found a table outside, laughter bubbling up as Mia smeared chocolate on her cheeks. But even as Sarah felt that connection to her daughter, something still flickered in the back of her mind. "Mia, how would you feel about having someone help us? Someone who can guide us?" "What do you mean?" Mia licked her cone, a little confusion creasing her brow. "Just what if we asked for help from some old friends? Do you think it would be scary?" Mia pondered this, her eyes glazing over for just a moment. Sometimes asking for help makes it feel less scary. There it was. The voice of a child wrapped in wisdom. It settled in Sarah like a soothing balm. "Exactly," Sarah replied with a light smile, but another wave of doubt surged. What would Rachel want in return? Did she even owe her an explanation for the years that had passed? After ice cream, they walked home slowly, each step heavy with unspoken words. The lights in the neighborhood flickered on, casting shadows that danced like lingering worries in Sarah's heart. It was time to decide. As they reached their front door, she felt the weight of the text again. Maybe reaching out to Rachel could pave a path through the darkness. Maybe it was time to awaken the ghost of their friendship, but what if it opened the door to unexpected consequences? Her phone buzzed again in her pocket, pulling her back to the moment. The anxious energy radiating from the unknown made her heart race. With a trembling hand, she pulled it out, staring at the screen. Should she reply? What if following this path would lead them right into Adam's trap? As the decision hung in the air, Sarah felt the truth prick at her heart. Could she really risk not knowing? And somewhere in the depths of her mind, the question lingered, what revelations could Rachel share that could change everything? Sarah stood at the threshold, the glow from the screen illuminating her face in the dim evening light. The persistent buzz of her phone felt like an animal, clawing at her insides. She had spent too many years running from memories, and now one simple name had erupted into a swirling storm of feelings she thought she'd buried. "Mama, are we going to go inside?" Mia's small voice broke through her spiraling thoughts. Her daughter's brow furrowed, a mirror of concern that hit Sarah hard. "Yeah, baby. Just give me a moment." Taking a deep breath, she opened the message. 3 words stared back at her: "We need to talk." They felt heavy, laced with urgency. Her heart raced. Rachel had never been one to beat around the bush. If she was reaching out, something was clearly wrong. Doubt wove into the fabric of her thoughts. What could Rachel possibly have to say that would be worth whatever mess they both had stepped away from? But there was no denying Rachel had real information that may piece together the jigsaw of Adam's secrets. Mia tugged on her sleeve, grounding her. "Are you okay?" Sarah looked down at her daughter's expectant face. "I'm fine, sweetie. Just thinking." "About what?" "About reaching out to someone." Mia's eyes sparkled. "The friend you mentioned?" "Yeah, but I'm just not sure, Mom. If you think it might help, you should do it." The determination in Mia's voice stirred something within Sarah, a flicker of hope, a reminder that sometimes the bravest thing to do was to ask for help. It wasn't just about her anymore, it was about Mia too. "Okay," she finally whispered. "I'm going to do it." With a new sense of purpose, Sarah pressed the reply button, her heart hammering as she typed, "Hi, Rachel. I got your message. Can we talk?" And just like that, the essence of the friendship they had lost began to stir within her. After sending the text, Sarah felt a wave of clarity washing over her. Maybe this was the beginning of something she had longed for but was afraid to face. Rachel had the connections, the courage that Sarah was still trying to summon. But would that courage also bring chaos? As they made their way to the living room, Mia jumped onto the couch, her small frame bouncing with energy. "Can we watch a movie? A funny one?" Sarah nodded, but her mind was elsewhere. Calls of the past drummed in her ears, an echo of laughter mixed with old fights. Could Rachel truly stay out of the mess they had left behind? Then the phone buzzed again. A response flickered across the screen, "Of course. Meet me tomorrow at the coffee spot." Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Tomorrow. This was real. This was happening. "Mom." Mia's voice pulled her from her daze. "What did Rachel say?" "She wants to meet." "Yay. You'll figure everything out." The innocent hope reflected in Mia's eyes both warmed and scared Sarah. It felt too big, this leap into interaction, this unexpected reunion with the past. But there was also a thrill at the thought of unlocking secrets, peeling back layers of time that had kept Rachel and her estranged. Tomorrow felt like a wild card, looping unpredictably. What truths might Rachel expose? As the day of reckoning crept closer, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the dawn would bring with it surprises. A storm was brewing, both humid with anticipation for the meeting and swirling with memories long buried. Did she possess the strength to face whatever Rachel might share? Sarah turned off the TV, her stomach fluttering with a gnawing uncertainty. One unexpected talk could change everything. Or unravel it deeper. Just then, a surge of resolve coursed through her. She glanced at Mia, who had already nestled into a cozy corner, her eyelids growing heavy. "Everything is going to be okay," Sarah whispered into the stillness, even if she herself wasn't sure, would this be the turning point or a detour into darkness? As she settled down to rest, that question loomed larger than ever. With tomorrow's meeting ahead, Sarah couldn't shake the realization of the truth waiting to be revealed, both about Rachel and about Adam. And as night enveloped their home, the specter of possibility hung in the air, poised to uncover connections lost and secrets hidden. Would she find the light she desperately sought, or would the shadows deepen? The echoes of the past awaited. The morning sun crept through the curtains, drowning the room in a warm glow. Sarah stirred, the anticipation from the night before settling into a knot of anxiety in her stomach. Her pulse matched the rhythmic ticking of the clock as she glanced at her phone. Just a small part of her wished to see another message from Rachel, maybe something reassuring, something to ease the tension. "Mama." Mia's voice rang out, bright and cheerful, cutting through Sarah's thoughts. "Can we have pancakes for breakfast?" "Sure thing, sweetheart," Sarah replied, a smile breaking through her anxious demeanor. As she moved around the kitchen, flipping pancakes and pouring syrup, she couldn't help but feel her daughter's innocence was a balm to her troubled mind. She observed Mia, her small hands eagerly stacking pancakes while giggling over their shared antics, a small piece of normal in this storm of uncertainty. Still, her mind flickered to Rachel, what they used to share, how quickly that friendship had frayed, like a favorite shirt finally ripping at the seams. "Mom, are you listening?" Mia interrupted, catching a glance at her mother's distant expression. "What do you think Rachel will say?" Sarah shrugged lightly. "I'm not sure, Mia. But I hope it's good. Like when we find a cool surprise inside our cereal." Mia giggled, her dimpled smile lighting up the kitchen. "Exactly," she replied, her heart warming a bit. The world through a child's eyes didn't seem so daunting. After breakfast, they busied themselves with chores, laughter echoing against the walls. Yet, with every tick of the clock, Sarah felt the impatience grow. When the time finally arrived, she felt each moment weighed with gravity. With Mia settled into her favorite chair with a book, Sarah threw on her jacket, the familiar fabric feeling more like armor than clothing. As she walked to the coffee spot, her thoughts bounced from mundane small talk to dangerous memories. She questioned each step, her heart a battleground of should I and what ifs. The coffee shop bustled with a mix of chatter and laughter as customers sipped steaming cups. The aroma of roasted coffee beans enveloped her, reminding her of simpler times. Rachel was already there, fidgeting with her cup, eyes darting towards the door like a hawk waiting for its prey. "Hey," Sarah called out, trying to mask her nerves with a casual tone. "Hi, Sarah. Thanks for coming." Rachel's voice was steady, but Sarah noticed the slight quiver in her hand. She still wore the same dark eyeliner that had been Rachel's signature since high school. They settled into a quiet booth, the outside world muffled. "So, what's going on?" Sarah braced herself, mentally preparing for the reveal. Rachel sighed deeply, her eyes holding a weight that begged to be released. "There's a reason I reached out. It's not just about the past, it's about Adam." The blood drained from Sarah's face. Could this be what she feared? Did Rachel know something that could tip the delicate scale of control she had maintained for so long? Before Rachel could continue, her phone buzzed, and she lifted it with the urgency of someone expecting bad news. The sudden tension thickened the air, and Sarah's heart raced. It's about you and Adam," Rachel stammered. "There's something you don't know." Sarah leaned in closer, her heart pounding. "What do you mean?" Just then, a loud voice cut through the cafe, a customer's argument escalating over a spilled drink, drawing attention and breaking the moment. "Rachel." Sarah pressed. "What do you have to say?" But Rachel wasn't listening, her gaze had drifted. Sarah followed her eyes, where a man had just walked in, an air of authority about him. Their eyes met, and in that moment, something shifted. "Is that?" Rachel whispered, barely audible. "What?" "Just, please let me explain." As the man approached their table, Sarah felt cold fingers of dread grasp her heart. What truths awaited under the looming shadow of this unexpected encounter? She faced Rachel, breathless. What is going on here? And so, with the scent of coffee in the air, and the Vibrant hum of chatter around them, the stage was set for a deeper dive into their tangled past. The secrets were beginning to unravel, and Sarah could feel them stirring, threatening to break free. When would the truth reveal itself, and what would it unearth? The air crackled with electric tension as Sarah stared into the face of the unexpected visitor. The man was tall, confident, with a knowing gaze that made her heart race. "Adam," she whispered, her stomach lurching. "What are you doing here?" "I heard you were meeting someone," Adam replied, a smirk creeping across his face as he leaned against the edge of their booth. Each word dripped with condescension. "Thought I'd pop in. After all, Sarah, family is important." Rachel's eyes darted between them, fear flickering in her expression. "What do you mean family?" Sarah managed, her voice barely above a whisper, dread crawling up her spine. "What do you know?" Adam straightened, arms crossed over his chest, deepening his presence like a storm cloud ready to unleash. "Oh, I know quite a bit. You see, sometimes people have pasts that they think they've buried. But truth has a funny way of surfacing, doesn't it?" The room felt stifling, a shroud of disbelief swirling around Sarah. "What do you even want?" she demanded, summoning courage. "This is my life. I want everyone to know the truth," he said, leaning in, whispering ominously. "See, your little community rallying behind you at one stand a chance when the past comes knocking at your door. What do you plan on doing?" Rachel interjected, anger rising in her voice. "You're a manipulator, Adam." His gaze shifted to Rachel with a smirk. "So nice to see you again, Rachel. Let's just say I'm interested in what Sarah has to share and what she hasn't shared. There's more to this story than the facade of a single mother playing hero." Sarah's heart raced. "You don't know anything about me." She shot back, desperation tinged with defiance. "Oh, I do," Adam said, a flicker of triumph in his eyes. "Let's just say you might want to prepare Mia for some revelations." The implications hit her like an icy gust of wind. She recalled the briefest of shadows from her past, the decisions that led her to today. "You wouldn't dare." She breathed, her voice trembling. "Dare? It is my game, not yours," Adam retorted, the smile on his face spreading. "But I won't ruin your life just yet. Not when it benefits me more to wait. Let's see how long your little facade holds up." "But that's not all." Rachel moved to shield Sarah, her eyes fierce. "You're nothing but a coward." "Maybe." Adam chuckled, glancing back at the door. "But I'd recommend you both keep on your toes. I'm not alone in this fight." He pivoted, walking away but not without leaving an indelible mark on the air. Sarah felt the weight of what had just transpired. The anger was swelling, bubbling just beneath the surface. "What just happened?" she yelled to Rachel, emotion pounding like drums in her ears. Rachel shook her head in disbelief. "That man knows something about you, something he intends to use against you. We have to act fast." "No," Sarah protested, the dread swelling again. "I can't let him expose me." "I can't, Sarah," Rachel's voice softened, a plea that felt like a lifeline. "You can't hide from your past forever. But if we work together, we can contain whatever he is plotting." A storm brewed inside of Sarah as the reality of her predicament settled like weight on her chest. "But how? Let's gather the community. Put them on alert. Together, we can face whatever he throws our way," Rachel suggested, fierce determination shining in her eyes. The puff of hope flickered in Sarah's heart. Together. Could they face Adam's shadow as a united front? Guilt washed over her. Her past was a festering wound and now threatened to unleash chaos. But Rachel was right, fear alone couldn't dictate their actions. With every tick of the clock, time slipped by in greater importance. "All right," Sarah said finally, her voice firming. "We'll stand together. For Mia, for us, for everyone who matters." With renewed determination, they left the cafe, knowing the weight of their community rested on their shoulders. As they stepped out, Sarah took a deep breath, feeling as though pieces of her shattered self were clicking back together. The warmth of the sun on her skin signaled that it was time to reclaim her. Narrative. They would face Adam. They would unite. That night, Sarah gathered everyone she could reach, the neighbors, friends, anyone willing to listen. Just like during the earlier meeting, she stood before them, but this time, the fear was replaced by courage. "Everyone, we need to talk about Adam," she began, her voice steady and filled with purpose. "He has been lurking in the shadows, and he knows about my past. But I refuse to let him manipulate our community or put you in danger." Gasps echoed through the crowd, but there was something new, the collective strength that surged like a heartbeat through the room. Mr. Thompson rose, his presence commanding. "We've all fought battles, whether public or private. It's our scars that remind us of who we are. And each scar is tied to those we love. We won't let Adam tear us apart." As he spoke, resolve swept across the crowd. They would stand as one. Sarah's heart soared, realizing the depth of their unity. "With all of you, I'll face the truth and unearth the messy past I've avoided for too long. Together, we'll lift each other up." And just like that, upon the sacred ground of honesty, Sarah found her voice strong, vibrant, unafraid, a semblance of light illuminating their way forward. As the crowd rallied, Sarah understood they were no longer her burden, but a family forged in strength, standing firm against whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they shine brightly against the dark, united by authenticity, resilience, and love. In that moment, she felt whole. They were more than just individuals, they were a force, ready to write a hopeful story of togetherness, driven by the strength of community. And in the backdrop, Adam could only watch as the tide shifted, powerless against the heartbeat of their unity. This was a new beginning, the dawn illuminating a brighter path ahead. With hope as their compass, their tale was only just beginning. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread this message. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending below. I want to hear from you. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now, and don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of helping this channel reach more hearts.